Tonight on Connecticut's news station, cleanup continues on the Gold Star Bridge, but is it safe to drive on?
And a string of smash and grabs.
Even though the doors were locked, they were gonna get in.
Tonight, residents saying enough is enough.
Several pillars and a cross remain where once stood a building integral to the very founding of this town. Just what happened, I'll explain coming up.
Plus, budget brawl. State colleges clashing with local leaders over funding.
Are we going to adopt a budget which I fear will kickstart a death spiral for this system?
What they say needs to happen to keep their doors open.
Some cooler nights ahead this week with temperatures in the 30s. We'll talk about it, your full forecast coming up.
The weather each day this week will be pretty similar with what we call destructive sunshine. I'll explain why we'll go from sun to clouds each day coming up.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, right now at 6, the southbound side of the Gold Star Memorial Bridge is now open to 4 lanes of traffic after a deadly crash involving a fuel tanker set sparks on the bridge on Friday. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on the news at 6. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. The bridge was shut down for hours. Officials were met with flames as they responded to the crash. And now the Department of Transportation wants to assure people that the bridge is safe. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc joins us now with the very latest.
We would never, ever have reopened that bridge if it was not safe to do so.
Josh Morgan's peers at the CTDOT got straight to work on Friday, just hours after a fiery crash shut down all lanes of I-95 at Gold Star Bridge.
Feel the heat.
Just after 11 a.m. Friday, a driver lost control of their car after getting a flat tire. Behind him was 42-year-old Wallace Fauquet III, known as Wally, driving a fuel tanker full of home heating oil. The truck hit the car, flipped over, and sparked a massive fire. Wally was pronounced dead at the scene, and Good Samaritans saved the people in the other car. The fire quickly spread around them, tearing through 600 feet of aluminum fencing on the pedestrian walkway of the bridge, also causing some damage to the pavement.
Seeing those images, seeing those videos, led a lot of people to believe that there was going to be, a catastrophic failure of the bridge. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
Once first responders did their job, the DOT stepped in, going under the bridge, making sure it's structurally safe, finding that although some of it is covered in soot, beneath that, the steel and even the paint held strong.
This fire did not burn hot enough, it did not burn long enough to have any impact on the structural integrity of the Gold Star Bridge.
We had firefighting water and fuel come down. That was all on fire. You can see the char.
Mayor Keith Hedrick with the city of Groton says his crews were dealing with secondary brush fires sparking beneath the bridge while everything else was going on above. Quickly, his team fought the flames. It may look bad now, but he says this could have been a lot worse.
It was tragic that someone lost their life, but imagine if we'd have had a 20-car pileup on top of the bridge and what that could have been, or if these houses would have caught on fire here.
Now, as they pick up the pieces, the community is picking up the Fauquet family, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to help them out.
This tragedy is bringing people together, and they need to know that they have community support.
Now, we did reach out to Wally's former employer, and they did send us a statement saying, quote, "There are no words to express our sorrow for the loss of a wonderful friend and loyal employee. Wally will be greatly missed. His energy and enthusiasm was infectious. Our love and prayers go out to his lovely wife, Elaine, and children." Now, we do have a link to that GoFundMe page, which continues to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for his family on Fox61.com. We are in Groton. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Really tragic, Julia. Thank you very much. All right, new tonight, Bristol police are looking for a suspect in an alleged attempted kidnapping. Police sharing this photo of the car believed to be involved. A concerned parent reported to police that the car stopped in front of their home and asked her daughter to get in. This happening in the area of Maple Avenue and Nelson's Field. Anyone who has any information on the car in the photo should call police.
All right, just imagine that you're fast asleep when all of a sudden you're jolted awake to the sound of glass breaking and your car alarm blaring. That's exactly what happened to dozens of people across the state this weekend. Fox 61's Matt Karen joining us live in South Windsor to tell us about this latest string of car break-ins. Matt.
Well, usually a thief will follow the path of least resistance. So simply locking your doors is enough of a deterrent to force them to move on. But that wasn't the case last night. They busted windows under the cover of darkness, in some cases, not stealing anything at all.
We recommend not approaching them. We do recommend calling 911 immediately.
A sense of security in the suburbs, quite literally shattered.
It's just a bummer. We got to get a new window, and that's just sucks for us.
The Jason family, one of dozens in South Windsor overnight, who had a vehicle window smashed and the contents rifled through.
Even though the doors were locked, they were gonna get in.
The group hopped from neighborhood to neighborhood, not just checking door handles.
Now they're up to breaking windows to get in cars at night. So yes, the light will go on and I'm gonna get a camera.
His wife heard it happen in the driveway.
And she got out of bed because she heard a bang and turned on the light, and then that car sped away.
Minutes later, that same group is believed to have broken into vehicles parked here at Lightning Fitness. The crimes occurring despite posted video surveillance signs. Fox 61 obtaining these images of the suspects and their sedan.
It usually is in these sprees the same people operating within the different towns over the course of a night.
South Windsor police tell Fox 61 about 20 vehicles were vandalized in total on these targeted streets, an issue residents say is only getting worse.
Be as safe as you possibly can with your own belongings. And, hopefully, the community can take a better turn so that we don't have this kind of thing show up in the future again.
Hey, Matt, we've heard of this happening in other communities. Do police think that some of the same people may be involved?
Yeah, it's a good question. South Windsor Police told me today, Jen, that they are sharing information with surrounding police departments because typically these thieves will coordinate their efforts across multiple communities. In fact, just a couple of minutes ago, we received word from the Wethersfield Police Department that over the weekend they had 9 streets targeted, 40 vehicles there broken into similar circumstances, these smash and grabs. And not just Wethersfield and South Windsor, we've heard about this in Rocky Hill, Newington, and countless other Connecticut communities. We're live here in South Windsor. Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Gotta stay aware. Matt, thank you very much. All right, new tonight, Union Station in New Haven is dealing with bed bugs. The city's parking authority confirming that they have been in contact with a professional to clean and thoroughly disinfect seating areas in the station. The seating area will remain closed overnight to get a second round of treatment, but should be back open tomorrow. Officials say they don't know where the bed bugs came from. Well, also new details on that deadly hit and run in Hartford over the weekend. We now know who was killed. While police asked the public for help finding who killed him. Police found 30-year-old Anthony Williams seriously injured in the road around 11 Saturday night. This happened on Farmington Avenue near Gillette Street. He was brought to the hospital and died there. Police are looking for a white SUV, possibly a Chevrolet Trailblazer with a roof rack and a sunroof. Anyone with information is asked to call Hartford Police.
A New York man has turned himself into police, charged with stealing about 200 gallons of cooking oil from a local restaurant. Police say that Jonathan Garces, a 28-year-old from New York, reportedly stole the oil from behind a restaurant in Wilton back in November. He's currently out on bail and is due in court on May 1st.
The state's largest electric and gas companies could start shutting off customers' utilities next week unless lawmakers take action. The Energy and Technology Committee sending a letter to PURA calling for the shutoff moratorium slated to end next Monday to be extended until the end of October. State utility regulators initially created the shutoff moratorium during the pandemic. In their letter, lawmakers say Connecticut households are still struggling and that a May 1st shutoff could leave residents at risk. All right, turning to the weather right now, a cooler start to the week after some rain this weekend.
Some rain, a lot of rain. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us. Hi, Rach.
Yeah, it was a super soaker. We more than made up for the rainfall deficit that we had in place before stepping into the weekend. And we do have a few pop-up showers on the way off and on through the week, but not much in the way of additional rain, just kind of classic April pop-up showers. Upper 50s for Hartford, also for the New Haven area. We've got some sunshine mixed in with a few clouds out there, and that's how it will will be as we head through the coming days. 57 in the Hartford area. We're also in the upper 50s at the shoreline, middle 50s in Waterbury. And you'll notice some showers to the north of us, to the east of us, to the west of us. So kind of unsettled, but we actually ended up carving out a dry day. I think our chances of doing that tomorrow are going to be much lower. So heading through the evening tonight as we're gearing up for the news at 11, we'll see temperatures falling back through the 40s. And by daybreak tomorrow, there is a chance for some patchy frost with temperatures beginning in the 30s to around 40 degrees. As we head through the afternoon after a sunny start to the day, we'll see more clouds start to billow up, and there is a chance for a spot shower as we head through the afternoon with highs near 60 degrees. We'll do it again Wednesday. We'll do it again on Thursday. But we might have another Sunday soaker in store for next weekend. We'll take a closer look coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. New tonight, outrage from Connecticut state colleges and universities over the legislature's budget proposal introduced last week.
Higher education leaders warn if lawmakers don't provide more funding for institutions, they will be forced to lay off employees and raise tuition. Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst joins us in studio right now with the very latest. Emma.
Jen, Ben, university system leaders say the legislature's budget proposal approved by the Appropriations Committee last week would cause a nearly $110 million deficit next fiscal year and $226 million the year after. And officials say in order to pick up that slack, they'd be forced to lay off more than 650 full-time faculty and staff, eliminate nearly 3,000 part-time positions, and hike tuition by 5%.
What grade would you give the budget proposal so far? Right now? F. All right.
Higher education leaders gathered with state lawmakers Monday, warning of disastrous consequences if they don't receive more funding.
We understand and respect the need for fiscal restraint, but it should never come at the expense of our most vulnerable students.
While the legislature's budget proposal does allocate $82 million more than Governor Ned Lamont's plan, officials say it's still not enough.
It's sickening that the budget has come into a certain degree where we're now asking the questions that as leaders we don't want to ever ask in higher education, right? In terms of who stays, who goes.
State university system officials say this budget would leave them $336 million in the hole, resulting in layoffs and tuition increases to cover the gap.
If the legislature can find the political courage to make the appropriate adjustments to our budget, that we can avoid these consequences. And in fact, I think it's our mandate to do so.
But it's not just the CSCU system. UConn staff and students pushing back since the governor's budget proposal in February, protesting at the state capitol, warning of similar consequences. In a statement, Lamont's budget director wrote CSCU's request for additional funding appears to be based on a belief that one-time federal funding to compensate for COVID-related costs should continue in perpetuity. Simply asking for ever-increasing operating subsidies is not sustainable.
Please rethink the budget because it will affect, I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for everybody.
The state legislature has 6 weeks for negotiations with the governor now. The deadline to pass a final budget is June 7th. Jen, Ben.
Thank you, Emma. Still to come on the news at 6 tonight.